This is the Out of Bounds Prize Wheel.
Hey guys, listen up.
This is the SEC Insider Hit, powered by Miss Kelly Furniture, Mississippi's number one sleep store.
All right, the SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Live Oaks Golf Club. LiveOaksGC.com. Tee it up at Live Oaks Golf Club this week, next week, every week. Or just go ahead and join. Blake and I are members. LiveOaksGC.com. And also Roosevelt's with the amazing cheeseburger, Philly cheesesteak sandwich, and chicken tenders basket. Roosevelt's at Live Oaks Golf Club. LiveOaksGC.com. Kyle Morris, the owner, played at Florida, teammate to Shane Matthews. And Shane's going to join us. Kyle had a meeting this morning and was going to join us. And Shane Matthews is going to jump on the show. You know, they won the state title in 1987 at Pascagoula. His father was the coach, and Shane and Terrell Buckley, among others, were on that team. So, and then he went on to Florida and had a great career. So we're excited to have Shane Matthews on the show. You're listening to ESPN 105.9 The Zone. You can watch the show right now. You can go to YouTube, search Out of Bounds Sports, YouTube Out of Bounds Sports, or you can go to Facebook and search the Out of Bounds Show. Our guests join us on the Corona Premier Guest Line. Grab a sack of crawfish from Mudbugs and some Corona Premier and enjoy the Masters and SEC baseball this weekend. We welcome in former Florida Gator great from Mississippi, Shane Matthews, on the Out of Bounds Show. Shane Matthews, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well, Bo. Yourself?
I'm doing good, dude. I mean, it's Masters week. Isn't this awesome? And Tiger's playing. It's a good thing.
There's no question. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. There's nothing like Augusta National. You know, TV does it no justice. I mean, I don't know how Tiger's going to walk that golf course if he makes the cut for 4 days. He's going to have to be on some serious pain pills.
No doubt about that. I've been there, too. You've been there. So how many times have you been to Augusta National?
I've been twice, and I went – the last time I went was with 3 offensive linemen when I was with the Bears. So this was in I don't remember when it was, but it was still when I was playing. One of the linemen's grandfathers has been getting tickets for years, so we made a big trip. We rented a little house, and it was great. But we were there for 4 days for all 4 rounds, and we had to take some serious pain pills to make the golf course just us spectators walking. So I don't know how those players do it.
Oh, man. You were there for 4 days. I was only there on a Friday, and it was still great. But we walked forever, and you're in good shape, and I'm in good shape. I mean, considering you were in good shape. You were an NFL athlete at that time. But you're right, man. The people just don't understand the hills and all the different the landscape of Augusta National, but once you get there, it's kind of jaw-dropping. So you and some offensive linemen, I bet that was a blast for 4 days. Y'all didn't have any fun that weekend, did you?
It was not a whole lot of sleeping going on. It was great, as you said. Let's just say we had fun.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so who are you pulling for this week? I mean, are you a Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Tiger? What direction is Shane Matthews going as we head into the weekend?
Well, on my show, I picked him to win the Players' Championship, and I'm going to pick him to win the Masters. The Morgan Wallen of the PGA Tour with the mullet, the Australian Cameron Smith.
Yes.
I just love his. And I just think he's out. He's one of the best putters on tour, and you better be able to putt to win at Augusta. And I just think he's gonna walk away with the green jacket.
All right, let's talk about that guy. he looks like somebody that you and I would have run into in Fort Walton Beach in 1989, right?
Yeah, he's like Morgan Wallen, the country music singer.
I love it, and he's got some personality. And when you're bringing that mullet to Augusta National, that's always a good thing. And like you said, he is a hell of a golfer. Have you been able to see any of the pictures from last night, Shane? And I like that the Masters is starting to do this, kind of share more of what's going on outside of the golf course through social media. But did you see some of the pictures they posted of the winners at the Champions Dinner last night?
No, I missed those. I need to check those out.
It's cool. So on Instagram and maybe Twitter and Facebook and so on, but I saw them on Instagram. It shows everybody that was there last night, from Nicholas to Tiger to Dustin Johnson, Spieth, and so on. And then, obviously, Hideki Matsuyama won it last year, and he put together an unbelievable meal of sushi and all kinds of amazing things. And it showed some of the chefs cutting up sashimi-grade salmon and so on. So to take us back, we talk about, I'm sure y'all have hit this on your show, Shane, and you've been able to do some really, really cool things in your life through football and other things. But that dinner last night is so exclusive. For us to get a little bit of behind the scenes is cool for people who like golf.
Yeah, I want to check those out. But you're right. I mean, just think about it. It's called the Champions Dinner. Only people who have won the Masters can attend. And I'll be quite honest, I'm not a sushi guy, so they would have to make me like a grilled cheese or a burger in the back.
I love it.
At that championship.
So you're more Bubba Watson menu. So when Bubba won it, he did chicken and vegetables and mashed potatoes and just the standard let's get after it type deal. That's more aligned. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Shane Matthews from Mississippi, part of the 1987 Pascagoula team that won it all with Terrell Buckley, among others. Went on to Florida, played for Spurrier, and then 15 years in the NFL. He joins us on the Corona Premier Guest Line. His friend Kyle Morris had a meeting this morning, and Shane kind enough to stop by and hang out with us. This segment's brought to you by Live Oaks Golf Club and the amazing cheeseburger at Roosevelt's Restaurant at Live Oaks Golf Club. How many times have you played golf with Steve Spurrier?
Oh, gosh. Back when I was in the league and he was still coaching, we played quite a bit in the off-season, Bo. But, he's 75 now. He's fine. He's, health-wise, he's outstanding. But he's got real bad arthritis in his fingers, so he has trouble gripping the club. So I haven't played with him since he's come back and as the ambassador. Probably should, but he knows he can't be competitive, so he doesn't really want to play with me.
I love it. Okay, so let me ask you, 20 years, let's say 20 years ago when you were in the league, and he's obviously around 55 years old or so, was he the guy that talked nonstop through 18 holes when you were playing golf with him?
Yeah, he always had some little jab at you. Now, obviously, I played him. He gives his players in college one opportunity to play him while you're an athlete at the university. And his claim to fame is he never lost to one of his current players, which is true because I played one time with him in Marsh Creek over in St. Augustine where he owns half of Crescent Beach. But this was back in 1991 or something. And I'll be honest with you, I was a decent golfer then, but more of a recreational guy. And you had to, the first tee box, you had to hit it over it was like a 150-yard carry over Marsh. And I didn't warm up. I came straight out of the car, and I chopped 3 straight balls off the first tee to the mark. And so he beat me by like 2 shots. I battled back, but he beat me by 2 shots, and I never got a chance again as a current player for him to play because I could get 1 shot and 1 shot only. But once I got in the league and I had nothing else to do in the off season but play golf, I used to wear him out.
I love that. All right, so in 91 when you played with him, was it because it's a coach-player deal, and he coaches the quarterbacks, and you were his starting quarterback, and he coaches that position hard and very critical. Was it weird, or had y'all developed, established, cultivated a relationship that it wasn't kind of player coach? How did that work?
No, it was kind of player coach. I mean, he took, like I said, he took jabs at you. I remember, because I wasn't used to the speed of those greens on the first green, and I just ran one way by, and he's like, "Shane, putting like a lineman, bad hands," But it's because I did warm up. I just came right out of the car. So he's such a good dude. I mean, he loves to take jabs at people. Obviously, he used to take jabs in the media, in his press conferences. That's what's crazy is, could you imagine Twitter being around when Steve Spurrier was in his heyday at Florida?
Oh, my gosh.
With all the jabs he took at Tennessee and Auburn and those schools, boy, people would be going nuts over that.
Yeah, I think he would be a lot like Lane Kiffin, but even better.
Yep.
Because Kiffin can dish it out and have some fun with it. It's a little bit of trash talk, guy talk, whatever you want to say, via Twitter. But he doesn't go too far. But he does his mic drop stuff and things like that. I think Spurrier could have been illegal on that. So in his prime, Shane, was he a scratch golfer, or where was he roughly?
No, he's never been scratched. I think people have heard that. I mean, he was a really good, I would say, in his prime, he was probably a 5 or 6 handicap. He never really hit it real long, and had one of the ugliest golf swings you've ever seen. But it's true. But with his being a tremendous athlete, having great eye-hand coordination, he found a way to score the golf ball. You've played with those guys that don't have a great swing, but they find a way to score. Yeah. And that's kind of how he was.
All right, Shane Matthews, former Florida Gator great, on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. He joins us on the Corona Premier guest line. All right, so that's cool. People are sitting here listening thinking, wow, you played a good bit of golf with Steve Spurrier. Who are some other people that you played golf with that you've really enjoyed that were also famous at some level?
Ooh, that's a great question. I did get to play a few holes with Michael Jordan when I was in Chicago.
Hold on, let's stop right there. All right, were you? Let's stay on that, and then we'll keep going. All right, so what were you freaked out? What were your nerves like? What was that like to play with MJ?
Well, it wasn't like it was a foursome. Let's back up. It was early in my career. This was still when the Richard Dents and the Steve McMichaels, the part of the Super Bowl shuffle. It was my first 2 years in Chicago, and we used to have just a public course where we would go play. So it was kind of Neil Anderson, who's a former Gator, was out there. So I was just kind of going along, and obviously, Neil was really competitive with MJ and Richard Dent as well. So they had a lot of money on the hole. So I just kind of played along, stayed out of the way, but it was nerve-wracking, even though I wasn't a part of the wager. But he would probably be the most famous. Now, guys on tour, I played one of my first rounds of official golf, kind of learning the game, with 2 guys who played on tour that were Gators, Dudley Hart and Chris DeMarco.
Yeah.
So I basically had a set of Wilson K28s from like Walmart, and I went out there as a youngster at Florida and walked around with those guys and kind of saw how they played and kind of learned from that and kind of taught myself how to play golf.
Shane Matthews on the Out of Bounds show. All right, we've had DeMarco on the show. He seems like a good dude. You like him?
Oh, yeah, I love Chris DeMarco. You talking about a diehard Gator? He loves his Gators
He
now.
does. He does. We led the interview with that, which I love. I mean, that's right in our wheelhouse as an SEC show. But he's come through here for the Viking and the Sanderson Farms and so on. So that's pretty cool. Oh, what's the best course you've ever played?
That would be so the college coaches, I think they still do it. Coach Spurrier goes out there every now and then, but they have out at Pebble Beach, they have what they call the College Coaches Classic, where a college coach brings 4 boosters, friends, or what have you, and you play 4 rounds, and it's Cypress Point, Spanish Bay, Pebble, did I say Spanish Bay, Poppy Hills? Anyway, they're all right there. But Cypress Point is the one that is like almost impossible to get on. But we played that. So I would say that 4-day stretch was outstanding. I did go, I think it was in '07. I get a call from a guy from Zurich Insurance that I knew. He's a Gator guy, but he's a marketing guy for the Zurich Insurance Company, but also had a relationship with the Mannings. And I knew Archie because Archie was my guy growing up with my dad playing at Ole Miss.
Sure.
You know, I loved the Saints. So Archie was kind of a friend of the family. So he's like, look, we got a free trip for a week to Scotland. We're doing this NFL players versus rugby players little deal, and then we're just going to play a bunch of golf for fun. The Mannings want you to go. I go, do what? So he goes, they need a good golfer. So I said, all right. So I agreed to go. Obviously, I fly directly first class out of Orlando. The Mannings fly a private plane over there. But yeah, I was with Archie, Peyton, and Eli for 7 days, and we played all kinds of courses there in Scotland, and it was a trip I'll remember the rest of my life.
Heck yeah. Shane Matthews on the Out of Bounds show, former Florida Gator great, joining us on the Corona Premier Guest Line. Who was the best golfer of the three at that time, Shane?
Of the three Mannings?
Yes.
I think it was Eli.
Okay.
You know what was amazing to me, though, Bo? Because, you know, we played golf from because the sun would come up at like 4 a.m. over there, and it wouldn't set till like midnight. And we played hundreds of holes of golf. But we'd go to those little pubs. The food was terrible, by the way, in Scotland, but tons of beer. But just sitting there listening to Peyton just talk football, you know, he'd be like, yeah, I remember in 1990, your starting receivers were this guy, this guy. Your offensive line was this. Your tailback was Eric Rett. And I'm going, he was still in like high school at that time. But it was just amazing at how he retained so much information from just the Florida teams that I played on.
That's incredible. That's a cool trip. A week in Scotland with Archie, Peyton, and Eli Manning. Can you believe that the grandson / nephew is now coming through and will announce in the next 2 or 3 months or so, Shane, Arch Manning?
Yeah. You know, I've seen him throw. He's way more athletic than both Peyton and Eli. You know, I don't know from a cerebral standpoint where he stands, but gosh, can you imagine wherever that kid decides to go to school? It's going to be something else.
Yeah, no doubt. Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Shane Matthews joining us on the show. Who was the most talented skill player you played with at Florida as a starting quarterback?
At Florida. Gosh, all the really good ones came after I graduated.
They're early, and then it really got up and running.
I tell Danny all the time, I was like, hell, I'd love to have thrown to Riedel Anthony, Ike Hilliard, and Jacquez Green.
No doubt.
The most talented skill guy,
because you missed Emmett, and
right. Well, you know, I tell everybody I love Emmett. I thought Emmett and I was there as a true freshman, and then Emmett left.
Right.
I was with him as a true freshman, but everybody thinks Emmett's the best running back to ever play at Florida. He was. I mean, but he's not our all-time leading rusher. Our all-time leading rusher is a guy named Eric Rett. But our best tailback, in my opinion, that ever played at Florida is Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor
was 6'2", 235, and was as fast as anybody on the field. And if he didn't play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he'd be in the Hall of Fame already. If you look at his stats, he's in like top 10 or top 12 in rushing in the National Football League. But to me, he's the most talented running back I ever saw at Florida. But back to your question, my most talented, I mean, Ernie Mills was a guy who struggled early in his career catching the football, and only had him 1 year, but he caught a bunch of balls and played in the NFL for a long time. But all those tremendous skill guys came after I was done playing.
Yeah, they got rolled. Y'all set the table and started the SEC championship game run and all that, put it on the map. And then Spurrier's assistants, you're right, about 4 or 5 years in, started bringing in some serious skill talent. You're right on Fred Taylor, too. It's like he's overlooked and underrated because of Emmett. You know, I mean, Emmett was such a big, you know, he played, but then the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls, and they kind of rode him, you know, and it was a different time where people ran the football so much more. Y'all didn't, thank goodness, but at Florida. But it's a great point on Fred Taylor. Hey, have you heard the story on Taylor taking a bag of cash from Georgia but going to Florida?
You know, I saw that, and I was surprised that Fred came out and said that publicly. But it's interesting. You know, I do know this, that's one thing you can always say about a Steve Spurrier coach team, and it's like that on the golf course. That dude knows the rules, and you're going to play by the rules. He doesn't care what happens. You're going to put everything out. You know, and he's always been one of the most honest human beings I've ever been around.
Oh, I'll say that I've said this for years. You may disagree or disagree. But if Spurrier recruited like Bobby Bowden or some others during that, I mean, y'all were already good. Unbelievable. And you know, again, he made y'all a powerhouse, a blue blood, and so on. But if Spurrier got after it, like Bowden and Pat Dye and some of the other guys back then, or even today, like Saban or Kirby Smart throwing down in the street, holy smokes, how good would Florida have been? Because he was that – not that y'all didn't have talent, because you did, but he was that good a coach, Shane. It's actually a compliment to him. Because if you'd have just bumped him up one more talent level, well, then he would have just run circles around people. Shane Matthews on the Out of Bounds Show. All right, Shane, we're wrapping it up. Tell everybody about what you're doing, your show, and where they can find it.
Yeah, I do a daily show from 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. It's called Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can check it out on any podcast platform, Facebook Live, YouTube, all that stuff I'm not real familiar with. I have people that do all that for me. But, yeah. So I also, Bo, now I'm the color guy on the Gator Radio Network for games, which I enjoyed doing last year. It was my first year. So I get to do that. And then also I want to give a shout-out to Live Oaks. Obviously, we know they have a tremendous wedding venue there. My daughter's actually getting married at Live Oaks at the Reed House.
Are you serious?
The end of this month. Yep.
Dude, that is so awesome, Shane. Congratulations. And it is. It's a beautiful – I mean, Kyle and his wife did a great job with that venue. That is so cool. Hey, I didn't know that you were now the color analyst for football. That is well-deserved. I've got about 15 seconds. Are you enjoying the heck out of that?
Yeah, you know, I got to be careful what I say when I see it. But, you know, I told everybody we were not a very good football team, and we were not very fast last year. But we got a good dude in place with Billy Napier, and we're looking forward to it.
You did. That's a heck of a hire for Florida. Shane, thanks so much, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, Bo, take care.
Shane Matthews. How about that? His daughter's getting married at the Reed House at Live Oaks at the end of the month. That is too cool. He joined us on the Corona Premier Guest Line, brought to you by Live Oaks Golf Club and liveoaksgc.com. Oh, we got a great guest coming up at 9:30. Talk some NFL draft. He's got a great name, too. I'll drop it on the other side. We're live in the Bank Plus studio, and the show is brought to you by Mississippi Sports Medicine.